a Neapolitan ice cream body scrub, but it's more like a novelty. But I wouldn't say it like glides onto the skin as easy as other body scrubs. And we'll talk about that more later, but I wanted this formula to be hard enough to where it stays in its form and it looks exactly like ice cream, and to where all the colors will stay separate. I had to have like some kind of structure. I'm going to be starting with phase A, and I'm making a 900 gram batch. I have 45 grams of glycerin and I have 36 grams of distilled water, and I'm going to be combining those two together. For phase B, we have sodium cocoyl isethionate, also known as SCI, and this is the powder version, 103.5 grams, and then 27 grams of cocamidopropyl betaine. And you want to gently mix the two together. And you also want to make sure that you're wearing a respirator. I put a little clip of one up on the screen because I forgot to record a clip of my respirator, but you want to make sure you wear one of those when working with SCI. And I just like kept mixing, adding more phase A until I got the texture that I wanted. And yeah, you want like a really like dry, hard, putty texture. That's the best way I can describe it. Now we're going to work on phase C, and all phase C has is 90 grams of stearic acid. This is the hardener. Now, go back to phase A, I'm grabbing my scale and I'm putting phase A on my scale, and I'm gonna write down how much it weighs, because when we heat up everything, some of the water in this will evaporate and we'll have to add that back in. All right, so now we have all three of our phases. You want to heat them up in a water bath. Just fill a pan with some water, place those in to get around the same temperature. You want the stearic acid to be completely melted, and the SCI just needs to be like soft and like easy to, it's pliable, like it'll just soften up a lot as it heats. Weigh phase A again and add in any water that evaporated. All right, now that everything's heated and melted around the same temperature, pour phase A into phase C. And this is why we have the water and glycerin separate. We just want to get the stearic acid and phase A mixed together first. And then I went ahead and poured in my phase B. This was a little difficult. You can just see how hard it is to get that phase B to mix in. It wasn't this hard when I made the smaller test batch. Basically, you just want to keep mixing it in until the SCI and the cocoa betaine just kind of melts in with the rest of the ingredients. And then eventually, once it was all mixed, I did hand mix it a bit. And yes, I do need a bigger spatula, don't worry. I ordered one on Amazon. It's already here because I recorded this video quite a while ago. It's around like 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can tell it has hardened up quite a bit. So now we're moving on to phase D. I have 4.5 grams of liquid Dermal Plus in this beaker, so I'm putting some of the scrub in the beaker to kind of like scrape out that liquid Dermal Plus, because this bowl's too heavy to put on my scale, so I couldn't just add the liquid Dermal Plus right in. So I had to weigh the liquid Dermal Plus in a separate container and then pour it in. But the liquid Dermal Plus is thick, so it's hard to pour, so I had to add the scrub into the beaker. I hope you guys understand what I'm doing. Anyways, now I'm adding in 585 grams of white granulated sugar. I think I did about 100 grams at a time and then mixing it in, because the scrub base is pretty hard, so it is kind of hard to mix it in. And then I was like, you know what, screw all that. I'm just gonna literally hand mix it. Loving the texture I was getting. And yeah, I just added more sugar, kept mixing it. Now we're going to be dividing her up into 3 parts. Weigh it out like I did. I don't know. I tried to make them equal. Apparently, I don't know. I think I mathed wrong. But yeah, just divide it up into 3 equal parts. And you're going to add 3 grams of chocolate fragrance oil in one, 3 grams of strawberry fragrance oil in another, and then 3 grams of vanilla fragrance oil. Then I'm using ballet slippers. This is from Mad Mica. It's ethically sourced mica, don't worry. This Summer Bronze Mica, again, it's ethically sourced from Mad Mica for the chocolate one. And I'm mixing this one first. And honestly, it'd be best to add the mica in with the fragrance oil. That would actually get it to mix in easier, but I wasn't sure how much I was gonna need. I didn't like this color here, but I wanted to add in some Tall, Dark, and Handsome. That's also ethically sourced from Mad Mica. I added that in. Here we are, chocolate ice cream brown. I love it. I knew this color was gonna turn out perfect because I make pink everything. So I don't really have anything to say here. Now I just went to make baked goods out of sugar scrub. And as you can see, like the texture is still very like pliable, even though it's like hard. And we just had to mix in the vanilla fragrance oil. Alrighty, so I'm gonna cover all 3 of these and I'm gonna let them sit overnight. Actually, I ended up letting them sit for like almost a week. But this is the texture after about a week. They didn't change in texture, which I was so happy about. I thought they were going to get a bit harder, but no. But what sucks is that they weren't as like scoopable as I wanted them to be. It also could be because like there's barely any in this bowl, you know. It's a strawberry one that was actually easier to scoop because it was a smaller bowl. And I think that's what my problem is. I think I just needed to make a bigger batch. This one's my favorite. This one's making me hungry right now. I want it. And then the vanilla, this was the easiest to scoop because it was in the smallest bowl. Yum. You could probably like gift this to somebody and like wrap it in like plastic with like a little bow on top. I think it'd be a cute gift. But yeah, you could package this in like plastic and give it to a friend as like a little gift. There is my first Neapolitan scoop. My second one, that one really looked like ice cream. And then there's the third. So you want to make sure your part of your body is very wet as you're massaging it in, and you want to make sure you're continuously exposing your body to water, the area you're exfoliating, and that's what's going to activate the lather and foam. If you don't have water, it won't lather and foam, and this scrub only has a small amount of water in it, so on its own it really won't activate the foam. It'll just look more milky. So you got to make sure you have water on your skin as well, and it'll lather up and bubble up very, very nicely.